The Pacific Island nations of Tonga and American Samoa are 600 miles apart. Why do they have such a big time difference? Well, that's thanks to the international dateline. To put 600 miles in perspective, that's about the distance from Indianapolis, Indiana to Baltimore, Maryland. My name is Piper Wright, and I'm here to tell you a little bit about the international dateline. I recently moved from the States to Guam, and I realized that there was a huge time difference. And by huge, I mean 14 hours during daylight savings time and 15 hours outside of daylight savings time. In order to keep in touch with my friends and family, I knew that I was going to have to see what time it is at home when it's a certain time on Guam. I hadn't realized that I would always be ahead of everybody back home. Realizing this, I wondered, how the heck is this possible? I looked at a map and saw that in coming here, I would pass over the international dateline. And let me tell you, a little something. Knowing about and understanding the international dateline are two completely different things. Oh, great Scott! Buying a flux capacitor and a DeLorean would surely be easier. The International Dateline, or IDL, is an imaginary line on the surface of the Earth that was created by the imaginative, but not so imaginary, and very real people that made up the International Meridian Conference of 1884. The IDL runs from the North to the South Pole and separates one calendar day from the next. It passes through the middle of the Pacific Ocean, roughly following the 180-degree longitude line. It does not stay in a straight line. This zigging and zagging allows it to pass around some territories and island groups that cover wide geographic areas, such as the island nation of Kiribati. Kiribati is a small island nation. According to the 2011 census, it has a population of 100,000. Its area is 300 square miles and consists of 32 atolls and one raised coral island. The zigzag of the IDL prevents certain nations from having not only two different time zones, but two different date zones. Huh? Let me explain. Here in Guam, pretty much everywhere you look, there will be something that has the tagline, Guam, where America's Day begins. This begs the question, where does America's Day end? That's easy. The answer is American Samoa, which is an island that is less than 200 miles away from the international dateline. Well, now that you know where America's Day both begins and ends, I'm betting that you want to know where the whole world's day starts. The answer is the island nation of Tonga. Tonga is about 400 miles from the international dateline. Tonga is a small island nation, and according to the 2011 census, it has a population of 100,000 that is spread among its 300 square miles of land. Tonga and American Samoa have the same time, but are one full day apart, as American Samoa is in the western hemisphere on the opposite side of the international dateline from Tonga, which is in the eastern hemisphere. The prime meridian is important because it is the common reference point of time for the entire world. The IDL is on the opposite side of the globe as the prime meridian. The prime meridian is the 0-degree longitude line, and it passes through Greenwich, England, which is where you get the term Greenwich Mean Time, or GMT. This is the Universal Time Reference, sometimes referred to as the Universal Time Coordinated, or UTC. It makes sense that the IDL is on the opposite side of the globe as the prime meridian. It's also convenient since it doesn't cross large land masses, which would only add to the confusion. As stated on Wikipedia, for the 2 hours between 10 o'clock and 11:59 UTC each day, 3 different days are observed at the same time in different places. For example, at UTC time Thursday, 10 o'clock, it is Wednesday, 2300 on American Samoa, UTC -11. and Friday, midnight, on Christmas Island, UTC plus 14. For the first hour, UTC 10 o'clock to 10:59. This is true for both inhabited and uninhabited territories, but during the second hour, UTC 11 o'clock to 11:59, it is only true in an uninhabited maritime time zone, UTC minus 12. According to the clock, the first areas to experience a new day and a new year are the islands that use UTC plus 14, which are the Line Islands, Tokelau, and also Samoa. The first major city is Auckland, New Zealand. The Line Islands are a group of islands that contain 11 atolls in the Central Pacific Ocean. Tokelau is an island off the coast of New Zealand in the Southern Pacific Ocean. Just to be clear, the island of Samoa is not the island of American Samoa. UTC minus 12 is a nautical time zone that includes the islands between 180 degrees and 172 degrees 30 minutes west longitude. All of this can be very confusing, but it's important to understand the role of the international dateline as a point of common reference, especially when it comes to travel. For instance, when my family begins looking at travel to go home, we have to start with the day we want to arrive and work backwards. We have to do the same with plan our travel back to Guam. Shipping companies, the military, and airlines all have to do the same thing. But without the IDL or UTC as recognized points of reference, confusion would reign. And confusion is something we just don't need any more of. Thanks for watching. This is Piper Wright signing off. And no matter what day it is, I'll see you later, if not earlier.